Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the situation report for the day of 835 to 836 for the 7th to the 8th of June. Commander, there is some aerial targets that entered our DPA airspace. Please hit it at the like button position. So smash the like button to destroy that incursion. Not sure what is that. And for the new people, do press the subscribe button to join the DPA army. We are recruiting to send you to the trenches as cannon fodder. We need a lot of cannon fodders. So we're going to start off with frontline changes report. There is quite a number of frontline changes over the past 24 hours. There is already the frontline changes for the 7th of June is already out. So you can watch it in the other video. So we are the past 24 hours for the 8th of June. There is I forgot to rearrange the thing. Wait, give me a second. Okay, so the frontline changes we have over at the Kharkiv front at Zeline, we have Vyshana Kupyansk front, Stepova Novoselivka, Nevsky at the Kreminna front, Rozdolivka, Kanal at the Bakhmut front, and Volodymyrivka. And we're gonna start off with the change over at Zeleny. So over at the Nekushny sector of the Kharkiv front, there is a geolocation of the Ukrainian forces over this location getting hit by a Russian airstrike. And this is something that we have been looking for a long time because the Russian forces have been, the Russian side has claimed to have captured Zeleny and has been battling for Nekushny. And but the lack of news since then was very disturbing. Ryba reported that Russian forces allegedly captured on Zeleny on the 10th of May, but we never have corroboration. So this geolocation basically invalidated a huge half of this Russian claim, which means that the Ukrainian border it looks something, the front line look more a bit like this. It could be a counterattack that the Ukrainians recaptured this Russian abandoned position, or it never happened. We do not know. So Ukrainian forces have taken this ground in the north of Nekushny. And however, there is fighting reported at Nekushny, according to the Russian Defense Ministry. At least they say that it inflicted losses on the Ukrainian side. It could be related to this airstrike. So just to take note on this. The next frontline change is over at Vyshana, over at the Kupyansk front. So it's over here at the Kupyansk front, and similarly, there's a geolocation of Ukrainian forces invalidating the gray zone in favor of the Ukrainians, which means that this tree line around here is under Ukrainian control based on this geolocation. So the Russian side has been the mapping is as usual pretty inaccurate at times. The claims very hard to corroborate. So no, the Ukrainian mapping seems to be more accurate. The next frontline change is over just nearby at Stepova, Novoselivka. The Russian forces geolocated at this position just on the northwestern part of Avdiivka shows that the Russian forces have taken progress over in their battle towards Stepova, Novoselivka. So this is the frontline change over at the Avdiivka, Stepova, Novoselivka region. The next frontline change is further south towards the Kreminna front at Nevsky. So again, this is geolocation. This time around is a geolocation of the Russian forces. They are attacking this tree line around here. The fact that they are geolocated here to be fighting means that this entire area can't possibly be under Russian control. The gray zone is now wiped out in favor of the Ukrainian mapping. So this area here is under Ukrainian control. So this invalidated the Russian claims. And there is still the further northern half of this gray zone that we are still waiting for corroboration. Also in the part of the Nevsky and Makievka region, we are still waiting for more corroboration to see whether we can wipe out this gray zone. But it's looking like the Ukrainian mapping is still more accurate in this sense. So after Nevsky, we have frontline change over at Rozdolivka. So Rozdolivka is over here. This time around, we finally have some good news for the Russians. The Russians geolocated at the end of this tree line, signifying that the Russians are progressing in the direction of Rozdolivka. So the Russians are pushing in this direction. This does not necessarily mean that the Russians have taken this entire trench line around here. So I'm being a bit more conservative that the Russians only have taken this area here, bypassing the tree line that the Ukrainians currently are defending with heavy trenches around here in the south of Novoselivka. So after Novoselivka, the next front line change is over at Kanal, at the Bakhmut Front. So I have been calling this area here Novi or Novoye, which is actually inaccurate. Someone in the comments, I forgot where, mentioned that this is actually Kanal and not Novi. Novi refers to something over on the other side. And he told me to check out with the OpenStreetMap, which I went on and tried to name up all the different places. So apparently the commenter is correct. So sorry, I forgot who is it. So this area is Kanal or Kanal micro district. Novi is actually over here. This is Novi. This area here, this is Novi. And this area here is another name. This is called this neighborhood is called Zovnevi. So and I went on to name all the different neighborhoods around Chasifia as well, because yeah, I'm very pissed off with them having these so many names. But anyway, regardless, you can actually check out all the names from this on this mapping. You can find this map on the description below. It's actually on the DPA website. Is a Google My Map app, and you can see all the different names: Pivnishne, Destiata, Novo Pivnishne, Shevchenko. Everything is here. So if you always see the word Stupki, Globovsky too, which that is actually this forest here. So anyway, so in this area here, the Russian forces has been geolocated based on multiple different geolocations, as well as based on Ukrainian mapping. The Russian forces have taken half of Kanal in a massive capture of this area here, particularly on one of them. This is a raise of the flag, the Russian flag over here. This does not mean that they have captured the entire of Kanal yet, but it's pretty close. They have captured most of it, slightly more than half. So there is, as I mentioned before, based on my own personal sources, the Ukrainian forces have been slowly withdrawing away from the Chasifia front. However, there is also rotation troops moving in. It's unclear what is their job, because my contact is already out of the front. But whatever it is, the Ukrainians may or may not continue to try to hold. The ultimate strategy in this area here is just to slow down the Russians for as much as possible. The Ukrainian forces know for a fact that they are being outgunned. So the entire military strategy right now for the Ukrainians is simply just to drag on, to waste as much time as possible, slow down the Russian advance, so that they have a more advantageous negotiation position if it ever comes. But whatever it is, the war will continue. The next frontline change is over at Volodymyrivka, very far away over here, over at the Donetsk Front. This is Donetsk city. And on this area here, based on Ukrainian mapping, the Russian forces have captured grounds in the north of Volodymyrivka, which is over here. So Russian forces taking these grounds around here and making further progress, which is starting to probably secure this town much better. But this town has never been in danger per se. So the main thing I think was around from here in this region here was that I think it's Blohodatny or no Ohainka. So one of these places was the place where the POWs was struck by allegedly by HIMARS. So that was a long time ago. Imagine how long time has passed. So Vodian is over here. The Russian forces are pushing in this direction on the western part of Sokil. So yeah, this is a continuation of an entire front line that the Russians are pushing in this direction. So so that's all for the frontline changes report. For those watching on the clipping, do remember to press the like button, subscribe, smash that aerial threat that entered into our airspace. And we're going to go into the strategy and tactical reporting. First thing first is this shocking news. Ukrainians have drone strike the Mozdov air base. And this is not in Russia. This is actually in Georgia. The Ukrainian Air Force have attacked Georgia. Unless you disagree with me and believe that North Ossetia is actually Russian territory, then of course you are pro-Russian. You're a Russian troll. So North Ossetia is the independent region, or rather rebel region, that is guaranteed by the Russian side. I can show you the border. It's a bit rubbish over. Oh my god, the can we have a better line? Yeah, don't have. It's all shitty. So all maps are shit. Okay, so actually it's wrong. This is not OSSETIA. No, this is just Russia. Okay, I take back all my words. You are not a Russian troll. I'm a Ukrainian. I'm a Ukrainian propaganda. Anyway, over at Mozdor, freaking hell. Then why the hell they say? Oh, that is South Ossetia. I got confused. So this is North Ossetia. The Georgian territory is South Ossetia. Okay. My bad. I take it back. I shall eat my own words. Okay. No, give me more super chat. Super thanks. Anyway, so whatever it is, this is the drone that they use. Is a so-called Ukrainian. Most likely they are assuming that this Liu-T UAV, which is this drone. So whatever it is, it still flew a long way. It did not really hit their targets, at least according to the Russians. Of course, the Russians will say that. This is where the Russian bombers are kept. The Tu-22 M3s as well as the MiG-31Ks are based here. So the authority claimed that only minor destruction and fires were recorded on the ground. But of course, no minor destruction to any planes can be catastrophic. We are not sure what is it that was hit, at least for now. So, but this is a super long way from Ukraine. I'm not sure where they flew this, 800 kilometers. I mean, you have to fly through all these grounds. Don't make sense. So I suspect that the drone might be flew from somewhere else. May not be from Ukraine. It just doesn't make sense for the Ukrainians to fly the drone in this way. Then the distance of the flight will be even more ridiculous. It will be like 1,000 kilometers. Then if the drone is to fly through defended airspace near the front line, that is still 800 kilometers. So I have no idea how this drone managed to hit its target. I wonder if it flew in from Armenia or Georgia or through the Black Sea or somewhere. So or Turkey. That could also be a possibility. Who knows? So we'll continue to monitor and see how does this attack actually manage to reach this place. If the drone actually flew in the straight line in this direction, then of course Russian air defense is shit. Don't buy the S-400. They're rubbish. So we're going to go on to the other side, which is the Russian claims. Russian claim that they have shot down a Mi-8 transport helicopter of the Ukrainian Air Force, which is a rarity right now. Very very seldom we see that helicopters got shot down because so many of them has been already been destroyed. So we away from all these strategic reports, there is okay, we go into the Kharkiv front first as usual. So at the Kharkiv front, the battle in the Kharkiv front continue. The Ukrainians are still on the counteroffensive tentatively, but the Russians are also attacking. So it's not a clear cut just the Ukrainians are attacking, but the Ukrainians are clearly attacking though. So the Russians attack at Kharkiv, the Ukrainians attack Kliboke in the north of Lipsy. Russians attack Nikoshny, Russians attack at Voschansk, Ukrainians also attacking at Voschansk. So this is the current strategic situation right now over in this Kharkiv front. The Russians has also reportedly shelled this location near Udi. What is this called? Konstantinivka. So they attacked Konstantinivka. So that's the current situation. We go front by front. So in this sector over here, I'm still not sure if this is just a fire attack or if it's some offensive operation. Because they keep talking about Graniv, but we have no idea if this is actually a push for Kosacha Lopan. We'll continue to monitor. Shelling at Konstantinivka is interesting as well. Russia used to have Udi. Udi used to be a stronghold along with Kosacha Lopan. These are two very strong positions for the Russians, which they eventually gave up. Very weird. Over at this Lipsy sector, at the Lipsy sector, the Ukrainians are on the counter with fighting reported at Kliboke as well as in the northern part of Lipsy. Particularly, we have the frontline change that shows the Ukrainians have already entered Kliboke. or at the outskirts in the way. They are over here, which means that the fighting is now the battle for Hliboke has begun, for battle of Hliboke number 2. So so this is happening. Is there any geolocation? There's a geolocation of Russian striking Ukrainian position over at Prudianka. Not important. Over at Nikushne, as I mentioned in the frontline changes report, Russian forces are attacking Nikushne. I'm not sure if it's an attack or a fire attack. So either way, they're attacking. And the Russians actually bombed the Ukrainians over here using the airstrike. So it could simply means this airstrike, So because all the Russians said is that they inflicted losses on the Ukrainians. So it could be simply just this airstrike. Over in the other front lines, in the Zaporizhzhia sector, there is totally no more news around here. Very, very weird. Especially given that the Russians have captured Burovka and we have Zaporizhzhia in tension. The lack of news is very unusual. Over at the Voschansk sector, the battle of Voschansk continued. The Russian Ukrainian forces continue to be attacking in this northern part. They are attacking in these directions. However, over the past 24 hours, the reports have now changed to the Russians trying to attack towards this area here. This industrial area here is called Aggregate, and the Russian forces are attacking towards this direction or in the area of this area here. So we will continue to monitor. It's kind of a blur around the situation around here, but this is where the battles are currently happening. And zooming out, there is geolocation of drone base. Alleged drone base got struck by the Russian forces, and Kolodias got airstrike over here. What else? What else do we have? Nothing. Oh, okay. Further south in the Kharkiv, in the Chuhuiv region, there's a Iskander strike, a missile strike. Over in the south of Chuhuiv. So the Ukrainians have some positions around in this forest region, having some very nice view along, overseeing the Siversk Donetsk River. They are fishing, and then suddenly, they caught a big one. And then, so that's all for the Kharkiv front. Not so happy yet. The happy front is still not very happy. We move into the Kupyansk front. Over the Kupyansk front, this front definitely have heat up a lot, with the Russian forces attacking Sinkivka, Petropavlivka, Stepova, Novoselivka, as well as in the area of Kaislivka. So we have the geolocation that caused the frontline changes, which is the invalidation of the Russian claims. So that's happened. There's also a airstrike at Petropavlivka, another strike or artillery strike just off Stepova, Novoselivka. And the region over here is particularly interesting. We have some geolocation of Ukrainian forces and Russian forces confirming the presence and where the front line is. And it's important to note that the Russians are now attacking from this area. Of course, clearly we can see from the frontline changes. But the Russians are also attacking in this area, in this direction. So the Russians are conducting some kind of a pincer attack on Stepova, Novoselivka from the Kaislivka and the northern part of Ivanivka direction in a pincer attack. So we of course the northern pincer is going to reach first, but with this geolocation, as per geolocated by Creamy Caprice, a tank was blown up by a mine. So the Russians are trying to progress in this direction and trying to hit to the southern part of Stepova, Novoselivka. The one over here is a bit more successful, where the armored vehicle, there's some shelling of a Ukrainian armored vehicle, and the Russians are moving forward. So this progress is going to start first. They're going to strike, start the fighting in the northern part first, as the Russians continue to try to make progress from the south. This geolocation over here is Russian drone strike and TOS strike, the thermobaric strikes. So the Russians are definitely trying to clear out the Ukrainian defense lines before they can able to reach the south. So the battle here is looking very serious. I think we are looking at, if the Russians are continuing at this pace or this intensity, they're probably going to capture Stepova, Novoselivka in the near future. Probably a week, I guess. So we move on away from the Kupyansk front. We move further south at the Svatove front. We have fighting reported at Stemekivka. And that's about it from the Svatove front. The whole front went quiet again. Very, very, yeah, irritating. Over in the Kreminna front, at the Kreminna front, Russian forces are attacking the eastern part of Nevsky as well as at Dibrova, particularly over at the Nevsky region, as mentioned in the Frontline Changes report. It looks like the Ukrainian mapping probably is the more accurate front line, where the front line is, and the Russians are just attacking in this area here. So not really at this area here. And this is, yeah, getting a bit on my nerve. No, all these no Russian mappings or no whatever mapping. I forgot who gave this mapping here. No, so inaccurate. It's just very, 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 very irritating. So it's gonna take a bit of time before I think I will be able to clear up, because the sources that I use have some changes. There's a lot. We are now using a lot more geolocations to determine the front lines. So so I'm not sure who. Which is also why I have already stopped using SITREP maps, because so far from my observation through my geolocations, I mean mapping via the geolocations, which is posted by Criminal Caprice and Military Summary, is pretty much sufficient to determine the front line, and it's much faster than using SITREP maps. So, but some of this inaccuracy could still come. I'm not sure, is it from SITREPs or is it from RIBA, but whatever it is, we will continue to map and see how this develops. Over at the Siversk front, Russian forces attack in the Bilohorivka region, and that's about it. Suddenly went pretty quiet. That's and Novoselivka in the south. So the Novoselivka one is very, very awkward. We have this previous claim, and now the Russians attacking here. So this claim here is now getting very very uncomfortable right now, because there's no corroboration from the Ukrainian side. So we will have to continue to monitor and see how this yeah, but however even if it's from RIBA, if I didn't remember wrongly, it's as good as it gets. So yeah, so we there's no better Russian sources, so we just have to make do. So there's a geolocation of Krasnopol, guided artillery strike on Ukrainian artillery. So this is a counter artillery action. Bilohorivka basically went very quiet. So we just watch this and see how this develops. Over at the Bakhmut front, first thing first, there's nothing in the south, so we're just going to concentrate on the northern part. So other than the fighting reported in the area of Zaliniansky, just want to bring this over. The most of the fighting is within this screen, so within here. So the Russian forces are attacking in the area south of Ivaniske, at Ivaniske towards Chasivya, at the Kanal district, or they call the Kanal micro district, at Kalinina, as well as Khorivka. So Kalinina is also known as Kalinivka, according to the Ukrainian spelling in Ukrainian or Russian. That is actually Kalinivka. Somehow in English it's called Kalinina. So you can slap them. Freaking hell. Anyway, so this is the current situation. The Russians are on the massive offensive right now over in the Bakhmut front. We will continue to monitor how this develops. The Russian forces, as mentioned in the Frontline Changes report, taking most of Kanal. So we will continue to see whether they can capture this within the next 1-2 days. I'm not sure. So and Kalinina, as mentioned in the previous Frontline Changes report, the Ukrainians fully chop off that entire thing, and now the transformation is complete. So from now on, the Russian forces over in Kalinina which is why they call themselves Kalinina, will now drink Bud Light. So that's all for the Bakhmut front. We move into the New-York. There's nothing over at New-York. We move into the Avdiivka front. Also, over at the Avdiivka front, the Russian forces attacked Novoselivka, Sokil, Yelchenivka, Novoporovsky, Novoselivka, Persha, Semenivka, the western part of Semenivka, Umansky, Yasnobrodivka, as well as Netelove. So, again, a lot of movements, a lot of attacking along the entire front line at Avdiivka. So we will continue to see how this continue to develop. The Russians previously was trying to push northward. Suddenly now they are pushing westward. So it just keep the Ukrainians guessing and keep us guessing, what the Russians are actually planning to do. It's very, very hard to predict, because the Russians are trying to get everyone guessing, and clearly they don't want to let the Ukrainians know what the Russians are trying to do. So all these are, it is what it is. I think I put this in the wrong color. So there is an Abrams tank getting destroyed from 4 kilometers from the front line. I believe this at Yehernivka, I think this Abrams tank is destroyed by guided artillery. So they have, I believe this is the one that the Russian side is boasting about. So they have the surveillance drone monitoring the tank, and then they basically call in a coordinated strike through artillery system, very accurate strike on the tank, and then destroying the Abrams tanks. So it could be what it is. At Sokil, Russian forces geolocated in the center of Sokil, which means that the Russians have basically attacked very successfully into Sokil. There is a story regarding this fighting around here is between the Bradley and the PTR. I told it in the previous Frontline Changes report. You can watch that. I'm not going to repeat the story again. So that's all for this situation over at the Avdiivka front. We move into the Donetsk front. At the Donetsk front, we have fighting, of course, in the Krasnohorivka, I believe. Yeah, correct. Krasnohorivka. No, I'm getting a bit confused. All the names sound so familiar. Battle of Krasnohorivka continue. Georgievka, Russians attacking towards Vodian in the Soloki Volodymyrivka region. And then, of course, we still have the fighting over at Staromayoske and Uruzhaine. So over at the Krasnohorivka, we don't have much news. We have some geolocation of Ukrainian forces to show that basically the Ukrainians are still around. The Russians have not made progress. At Georgievka, the Ukrainian Defense Ministry finally they made a report yesterday night. Talk about Georgievka, but there is no idea where's the front line. Again, this is where we have this massive gray zone, which is pretty irritating. Over at the south, there is some geolocation of Ukrainian forces in Konstantinivka, not important. Over in the south, in Volodymyrivka, as mentioned, the Russian forces are pushing in various directions. They have a progress in this area here. Another development down this lesser tree road towards Vodian, and now we have this development in the north of Volodymyrivka. So there's a sensing I have that the Ukrainian lines around this area, entire front line here, seems to be pretty fractured, or they're struggling to hold their ground. And so we will continue to monitor. I got the suspicion that they are struggling to put men into the front line around here. The lack of cannon folders would just mean that the Russians will continue to progress. So yeah, and this is logistically very complicated to get because it's so far away from the Vodian or Voleda. So it is a bit troublesome for the Ukrainians as well. So we will continue to monitor. There's nothing else over the entire stretch around here along Voleda. Over the Velika Novoselivka sector, the Russian forces continue their battle in the northern part of Staromayoske as well as in the southern part of Uruzhaine. The Ukrainian Defense Ministry, very interestingly, did not want to use Uruzhaine, I guess. They said Zaveni Bezanka, what is it called? Bazania. Zavini Lasagna. Bazania. I call it the lasagna. But clearly the front line is not there. So they are just trying to trick people into thinking that the fighting is in the more southern part, which I don't think so. So because the last geolocation was here, so close to Uruzhaine, I don't think the Ukrainians suddenly appear just off Zavini Bazania. I think that's a bit too much south. So that's all from the Donetsk front. At the Zaporizhzhia front, Zaporizhzhia city, this is the Zaporizhzhia front. At the Zaporizhzhia front, we have no reports of fighting around here. So the past 2 days, there's no reports about fighting along the Zaporizhzhia front. There's only one geolocation north of Dobropilia at the Nove Zaporizhzhia Russian airstrike being geolocated over here. Very, very random. And we move into the Kherson region, but before that, at across the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, Russian forces allegedly shelled Nikopol and Marivka. So there's some shelling, and he need to go and see the dentist. And we move into the Kherson front. At the Kherson front, there is no fighting reported at Krinky. According to the Russian side, they heard some reports, some rumors that the Ukrainians have withdrawn from Krinky. But it's clearly no, I don't believe, because their rumors tend to be inaccurate. Like very often it's inaccurate. So I think we can ignore that rumor. Geolocation of guided missile strike, helicopter guided missile strike on Tiahinka. And I believe, and there's another one over at Stanislav. There is a FPV drone strike. So not important. It's just 2 strikes. Clearly, there's a lot more fighting and attacking and shelling across the front line that is not catch on film. So not very important. So that's about it. And at the Black Sea, there is some battles in the Black Sea. The Black Sea fleet allegedly destroyed 5 USV, which is a unmanned surface vehicle. So UAV is the flying one. USV is the surface ship one. So 5 of them allegedly got destroyed. It could be an indication that the Russians are getting better at detecting and destroying all these suicide surface vessels. But let's watch and see whether it is true. Because if it's true, then Ukrainians will have to find new ideas on how to deter the Russians from trying a landing on Odessa. So anyway, that's all. So this is the situation report, the SITREP, for the day of 835 to 836 for the 7th to the 8th of June. Commander, share the report. This is not classified information. Please share it. Please leak it to the press. And I'll see you guys in the next update.